We're looking at a 1998 BMW Alpina B10. It's a E39 Touring. Car is on the lift. Car was recently inspected. And just to be clear, this video is not to contradict with anything it was said during inspection, but because the pictures were poor quality and the video even worse, we just want to take a good undercarriage video just to see that this car does not have any rust and it looks all good. Now, starting from the rear, you got the Alpina mufflers here, and also this is your trunk floor where the spare wheel is located, so you can see this is all original. It doesn't even look like it was rust protected, so this all looks very good. Now, another thing is, on these cars that come from Europe, the very first thing that we see rust is usually brackets and suspension components. And as you can see here, everything looks really, really good. Now, you do have some very surface stuff on this rear carrier, but if you look at it, I got a screwdriver here. See, that rust, it actually comes off with your finger. You can wipe this off. You don't even have to wet sand it. This is just, it comes off with your finger. So it's really nothing to worry about. Excuse me. Now here you got this little strap that has a couple of little things, and again, here, look at this one. You can wipe it off with your fingers. Obviously no rust to be concerned with. I think the biggest spot is right here, and this is a little plug. So as a comparison, we had a E39 that we recently sold that was a Florida car since new, and it had the same exact thing. So you can see this is all solid, and obviously this little thing, it's a plastic plug. It's the same thing right here. I don't know if it's plastic or it's a little aluminum cap, but that's I guess that would be some moisture that can get in these areas. So this one is a little bit worse than the other, but as you can see, it's all solid all around it. Another thing, now that I'm looking at it, I think what happened is it almost looks like this car was lifted at the wrong place, because it almost has an outline of a jack. So maybe at some point somebody jacked it up at the wrong place. Speaking of jacking it up, one thing that's really unusual is that this car has all four lifting pads. All these plastic pads, they're usually missing. This car has all of them. I don't know if you can see, but it's being lifted in the correct place now, and all these pads are present. And then you have this little crappy bracket here that's got surface stuff on it, and some of it comes off, but if you get a sandpaper or a little wire brush, I'm sure you can make it real nice and maybe spray it so it doesn't rust again. But again, that's a really cheap bracket, even in case if you wanted to replace it, which is probably not very expensive. Now, everything else looks absolutely amazing. If you look at the floorboards here and rocker panels from this side, it all looks good. Also, another thing that's important, a lot of cars that come from Europe, they have brake lines that are rusty, but you can see this, these are intact, and there is really nothing there, absolutely nothing. So the car does look pretty amazing, especially for the car that comes from Europe, because these cars usually have more rust than what you see in this case. And I don't really see anything else as far as points of rust. To be honest, I don't see anything that I should mention. Now, one other thing is fluid leaks. So if you look at it from underneath here, you can see that the shields, they have a little moisture. But also, if you look at the shields here, there is nothing that's dripping out of the shields. And this car sat inside the showroom for probably 6 weeks or more, because we were closed and I was on vacation. And there's not a single drop of any type of fluids coming from this car. There's a little thing that hangs here, but this also looks like it could be just from a drain plug. it's very, very minor. Your rack and pinion looks good, and on both sides, and really everything looks fine. We did talk about the tires. The tires are old, and there are good Michelin tires, but they will have to be replaced because they are old. Here's another look at the back of the transmission. It's all nice and dry, and again, we didn't clean anything, we didn't pressure wash anything. So if you really look at this from the standpoint of rust, there is really nothing, because all this can be cleaned with your finger, and this one here, I guess you can maybe just spray it with some undercoat. I don't really see a reason of even fixing anything. So that looks all pretty good. Any questions, give us a call.